we've been going over like mount attacks. So let's just really kind of focus on some basic principles and everything else that we're going to look at. One of the big things that ends up happening about, like, people sometimes want to grapevine the legs and everything from there. And I get it from trying to stay on top. But realistically, if I have a hip line of Jonny, a shoulder line, and a neck line, I want to ultimately upgrade my position if I'm looking for cross-collar choke or anything along those kind of lines. So if you look right now, again, I'm on my toes. We never want to be sloppy with our feet. If we're using the grapevine to kind of hold a position for a second, it's one thing, but a lot of times when I'm focusing, on cross-collar choke, we want to focus on going down and in, and when we say using our hips, we can drive forward. If I'm sloppy with my feet, just like I am right now, it makes it really easy for him to frame, escape. He can push against me, and it's just going to make it easy for him to re-guard. If I'm just even flexing my big toe, if he goes to frame against me right now, I'm able to still block the hip line and his near hips with this, okay? So that's one of the biggest details, that no matter what, when you're in this mount kind of position, if you feel that you're getting stuck, you're not finishing choke, really emphasize that small little point, and that usually will clear up a lot of your stuff. Now, let's look at just a basic kind of cross-collar setup. More often than not, he's going to be having his hands in, defending his head, neck, everything else along these lines, okay? Now, they could be crossed, they could be like home alone, they could be set up everywhere with that. We're really going to emphasize getting a really strong palm-up grip. And when we connect this to the ground, we're going to make sure that we have a solid fist. I'd rather have you even end up with a little bit more flexion than just being, in extension and soft with this. Otherwise, we're not going to have a connection with this. So I want to get my hand deep into Jonny's collar, but realistically, if he's really tight, it's not going to be easy. So I'm going to use two steps. If I'm able to ice scraper my way all the way down just with a flat palm, I'll go ahead and I'll take that. If I can't do that, I'll open up the lapel and ice scraper my way all the way down. So Jonny, come over here for a sec. When I'm here, remember what I said, I want to make a solid fist. You should see as soon as I make a solid fist and connection in the ground, a little kind of change in the tone of John, because I'm now connecting this real deep. This is going to now allow me to upgrade my position, and as well for here, start to set up control. I'm blocking this hip. I'm starting to control between this neck and the shoulder. And the thing that I will show more often than not is the side that we have the hand in. So in case my left hand is in his left lapel, my left leg's going to go out. The reason why we're going to do this is I'm going to give you 3 kind of little steps that you can use to go ahead and finish your choke. More often than not, if he wants to bump me from here or go to move, go ahead. I'm still able to off balance, because the only way he can really bump me is this way right now. If he goes to bump me the opposite way, he really has nothing. I'm still able to block. If he goes, because more often than not, this looks too good to be true, to underhook between the hip line and shoulder line, if he goes to try to grab my leg, go ahead, I'm just going to leg curl this back. Now I can go back onto my big toe, because now this arm is away, so he only has one arm to defend with. This hand is going to go thumb in, palm down. If I can't get all the way from there, I could just grab the scruff. If you feel that you're still losing it, look, I'm going to follow my diagonal. I'll just lean forward and scrape this back to get in. From this position, all I do is I start going down and in. By down and in over the top arm, I'm still on my big toes, and I want to stretch his head away from his shoulder line. So I start extending, and I get the choke. Notice that this arm ended up a little bit far away. It's okay. Here's a little detail to this. I can't have both arms squeezing really, really tight. If I'm really trying to squeeze this, this may be a pain compliance kind of thing, but Jonny can turn his head. Okay? The minute that I just relax one grip, if Jonny wants to go ahead and turn it, becomes a lot less movement for him, and he'll tell you it's tighter. This allows me to start to extend and stretch him as I lean forward. When I get here, I lean forward, and I just relax. It eventually will catch up. So, just to work on this one more time, he's going to have his hands in. I want to ice scraper, and remember, I'm on my big toes to block those hips, especially if he bumps me or anything from there. I make my good solid fist, and I'm going to put this leg out. We're going to use the arm trap because, again, as long as I'm in between and underneath that shoulder line, even if he lifts this all the way up, I'm always going to be able to leg curl that back. I go in, make my good solid grips. I've got one tight, one a little bit more relaxed. I lean over towards the side from there, and it's ultra tight.